Hey everybody, part 2 of the series. Tyler Gray, former Ranger Delta operator, producer, director, and actor of the show SEAL Team, acted on several other movies as well. If you guys haven't checked out part 1, I'd highly recommend it. He really opens up on this one. This is going to help a lot of people. Patreon, owe you guys a huge thank you for supporting the show. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. I love you. I love you, everybody. If you haven't, please head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us who you want to see on the show. But, hey, thank you, everybody, for being here, no matter how much support you've given us. If you're new, share this with a friend. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Tyler Gray for part 2 of the series. See you soon. Previously on the Shawn Ryan Show. How many people depend on you? Do you have any idea? You're the producer of SEAL Team. You're a director of SEAL Team.
Well, that's work. I mean,
that's your life. How many people depend on you?
A bunch of dudes got shot. Like, I don't know, like 13 or 14 dudes. Just to note it, I mean, these guys were real pieces. All of them suicide bombers. Everyone about to blow themselves up. One guy was in the kitchen and he had dragged himself from the living room. And I don't know how many times he was shot, but I saw him. You know, he's gonna die like pretty quickly. I'm just gonna watch him. I was probably a foot from his face. Like, if you think what the military used to be, which is a bunch of morons online marching on an open field to face each other, it's the same mentality.
Yeah. When we come back, we'll finish up your Iraq deployment. All right, Tyler, we're back from the break. Let's wrap that deployment up.
I'm trying to think what happened at the end. Yeah, so Fallujah, I mean, it was just for me, that was like, all right, like, that's war, like, freaking all out, Cobra helicopters coming in, freaking airplanes, tanks, it was like, wow. So again, I'm glad I got to see that, and then,
did that amount of violence affect you?
No, I mean, I'm not a violent person at all. Like, well, again, unless you fuck with kids, but other than that, like, it's like fighting. Like, dude, I've been punched in the face, but I've never, like, I've not been in a lot of fights, because what's the point? Like, are you going to kill me? Am I going to kill you? No? Well, what the fuck's the point of fighting? Ego? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, like, there's no, if you're not, violence doesn't make sense unless you're going to kill a person. I mean, to me, and so it's, no, I mean, it didn't bother me. I was lucky in the sense that, again, the only thing that affected me was definitely seeing kids hurt. That affects me.
Did you see a lot of that?
Not a lot. I saw it, but again, I was super lucky in the sense that I was in a unit that, is a scalpel. So, I mean, no one's shooting non-combatants. The amount of effort we're taking to not hurt civilians was, we were doing basically hostage rescue style tactics to not hurt combatants, especially at the time. So no, I didn't see a lot of hurt non-combatants. I mean, you definitely, it happens, shit happens. And I saw, kid stuff, which again, it's sad.
What kind of kid stuff? What did you see?
A girl got like her arm, I can't remember if it was blown off or, I don't remember. I mean, quite honestly, in hindsight, it was probably about what happened to my arm in hindsight. And it was just a total accident. I won't get into details on how it happened, but no one's fault. It's fucking war. But yeah, that was it's just you just can't. It's like cops and EMT and fire. You just, if you get emotionally attached, you just couldn't do the job. But it's worth noting, actually, that, when I kind of made up that fake person, I shut off all emotion. That sensitive kid I had to kill. So I just shut it off. I mean, to the point, and I'm not exaggerating, to the point where when I was in that treatment, they asked me, what was it about? It was about feelings. They asked me a question, or I think it was written, it was about feelings. And I was like, can you give me a list of feelings to pick from? Because I was like, I was so unused to like how do I feel about something? I mean, I was stumped. I was like, I really didn't know how to answer. And I was like, do you guys have examples so I can figure out how I feel about it? And actually, that was one of the exercises I did, was I would have to try and feel okay, what do I feel? What is it? How can I feel? How in my body can I tell I feel a certain way in my mind, or emotionally, I should say? Because pure emotionally, I'm like, I don't feel anything.
Have you ever thought about where emotions even fucking come from?
The devil?
You might be right.
Again,
isn't it fucking weird? Where do they come from?
I mean, the only thing I can come up with is I'm a fan of evolutionary psychology, and emotions make sense to reinforce certain behaviors.
I mean, how was it created?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a fascinating topic. I mean,
a
lot of people are hearing this do they come from your brain? No, I mean, where the fuck do they come from?
Yeah.
If I dissect your brain and I cut out a little fucking chunk, am I going to see sadness? Am I going to see happiness? Am I going to see anger? You're not going to see any of that shit. Where the fuck do they come from?
This is where a hippie would say, from the heart. All emotions are from the heart, man. Yeah. I mean, brain science is, it's interesting to me because, you're trying to understand a system from within that system. It's not going to go well. I think you're going to miss a lot of stuff, But yeah, I mean, I had no emotions. And again, I make no mistake, I'm still not good at it at all. I'm, I say things and I don't realize, like with my girlfriend, I'm saying emotional things, but not emotionally. I mean them, but there's no emotion in them. Mm-hmm. Because I don't have emotion. So I'm honestly trying to learn how to feel, And going back to, why am I hesitant? Because that's where all the freaking risk is. As soon as you start having feelings, you open yourself up for hurt feelings, negative feelings, it's,
If that's the case, why do you want to feel again?
Because that's what being human is. Everything else is just a shell. And I've been one for a long time. On that note, the reason I have always liked movies is it is the only, and music, but I will absolutely, my whole life really, I've shut down, after, whatever age, but shut down emotion with one exception. Movies and music. It's like a safe place where I can watch a movie and cry. I can listen to a sad song and release emotion because it's not reflective of me. It has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? It doesn't make me, it's not about me. It's like I can watch this movie and I can be sad and fucking cry in extreme cases. Like The Notebook. Which I think I actually did cry. It was fucking sad. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And it doesn't, it's not reflective of my own life. It's not reflective of my own past. It's not, it's separate. It's safe. And again, I know that's wrong. Trying to get better than that. But during my, up until recently, it was my only emotional release, really, of any kind. And even now, again, dude, I don't mind saying it. We kind of talked about it earlier, but as I was saying earlier, people are like, oh, when you talk very raw about, you're really open. Yeah, but the reason I can do that is because I have no emotion towards it. I can be matter of fact because I don't feel anything. I'll tell you about the worst day of my life. I was a fucking kid. I shit my pants at camp, literally. I'm detached from that. If I really thought about it, if I really focused on it and let the actual emotion happen, dude, I'd fucking cry. Because it was sad as fuck. But it's so hard to get to that place because I'm so shut off. So
I think a lot of guys can relate to that.
I hope so. But that's the irony is I kind of want to get, my goal is to get to a place where I can't talk this candid without it affecting me. Because it doesn't, and that's not healthy.
Yeah.
But going back to, that deployment ended. We did some other stuff too in other places.
What kind of stuff?
Well, it was a fucking nightmare because everyone else was in Baghdad. This is one of the most dangerous things I've ever done. So everyone else was in Baghdad. We were in Fallujah. So if they were doing a mission and they needed us, they would have us drive in civilian unarmored vehicles dressed in a certain way from Fallujah to Baghdad. Unarmored, I drove an Alfa Romeo. Some of those drives were level 10 fucking sketchy. Like it got to a point, I forget how many times we did it, but finally one was so bad that my team was like, fuck you. Like, you want us to send a fucking healer, we're not doing it again. It's like, I don't know, 45-minute drive, something like that. But yeah, we got, long story short, we got fucking stuck in traffic. I mean, literally couldn't move, boxed in, and fucking all the fighters were leaving Fallujah, and they were fucking walking through the traffic. I mean, dude, one AK,
shit.
done. I mean, dude, we got lucky, but that was probably the only time that I was like, oh shit, like, oh fuck, like, if anything goes wrong, we're done. There's no way out. We're fucked. No, you can't even fight back. Nothing you can do. Yeah, so that deployment ended. Went back, fucking standard cycle, training, blah, blah, blah. Next trip to, was straight Baghdad. Straight Baghdad, and that was when 05, like, every target was legit, like fucking serious, it was fucking bad guy after, every target was bad guy, like legit fucking bad guys. I mean, it was a great deployment. Dude, we do, some nights we do, I forget what the record that trip was, either 3 or 4, I can't remember, follow-ons.
Damn.
Like, did a hit.
4 a night?
I was at 3 or 4, I can't remember. But yeah, did a hit, because I remember one particularly, which had to be this one, that we hit a place, got the guy, had him tell us where the other place was. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4, but anyways, we were there. We ended because the sun was coming up and the little birds wouldn't stay. They wouldn't fly in the day for obvious reasons. So we were done. But yeah, we were out all night long. It was a great deployment. Obviously the mission I got blown up on.
Was that deployment?
Yeah. So what happened was, this was Sadr City, and we were doing a BDO, vehicle drop, basically dropping off and then walking to target because for noise. And did you go through Sadr City? I mean, it's like a shithole, like dirt roads, and the houses don't, like most parts of Baghdad, shit's like fucking rows of, the compound type, you know what I mean? Like perfect blocks, fucking Sadr City, shit's just not organized. Anyways, we're walking and we're like, this is the target. And so we hit it. I was a breacher at the time. We hit it. We went in. I was like, no, this ain't the place. I could just tell, just by the people, kids. I was like, no, something's wrong. And I think we were there for like 30 or 45 minutes, the interpreter trying to figure shit out. And then we get called outside, and it was my team and another team. The other team was a dev group team. And then they were like, oh, no, it's this house, which was distance-wise, maybe 100 meters-ish. I'd probably see it today and go, well, I was way off, but in my head, about 100 meters. So the dev group team went around, or was going around the front, and we were heading towards the back. And dude, next thing you know, fucking 4th of July. Like, I want to say from memory, there were 8 dudes in the front room. And when the team came around, dude, they all opened up out the windows on those guys.
Damn.
I think 3 of them got hit, right away. And, they had just come around. So basically what happened was when we hit the house next door, obviously those fuckers woke up and started, kitting up. And, it was an ambush. As soon as the shooting went off on the front side, so I was the breacher for my team. So, I had to get us in. So I ran, I think I jumped the wall. I don't remember how we didn't have a ladder. But anyways, got over the wall and I don't even remember how I breached the door. Anyways, went in the door and just, started clearing. And, they were still firing. And then we cleared one room, cleared another room. There's a guy with an AK in there. And then came out, me and another guy ended up being side by side going down the hallway. And then I don't know, can't fully explain how I was aware of it, but I was aware that they were shooting. They started shooting. They basically sensed us coming down their hallway wall and then just started shooting through the wall. And so all these bullets came through the wall. And I don't remember looking at the holes, but I remember feeling the shit fragment, whatever. And I remember the pressure, the sound. And then the guy next to me got hit. I remember him saying he was hit. I think he was hit 3 or 4 times. I can't remember. And so, not DFQ, we're maybe there's a better way. So we went back. If we would have kept going, fucking dead as fuck. No question. No way fucking 2 guys are gonna, I don't care what your fucking CQB tactics are. You're not going in against 8 AKs, even a 4-man team. Ain't happening. And so we pulled back, and then I assume he went outside to get medical aid, and then it was me and another guy. And basically, it was a tactical conundrum, which is at the end of the long hallway, you have a door. How do you throw a grenade? You can't. You can't fucking curb it like wanted. It's not the Matrix. So the only option we had, which we were figuring out, was I'm going to fucking shoot the door. I'm going to fucking keep dumping rounds at the door as we move up to where he gets close enough to hook it in. And then we'll run back again. And that was the plan. I can't remember if he grabbed the grenade. I don't fucking remember. But next thing I know, fucking everything exploded. And
Who grabbed the grenade?
No. He was about to prep the grenade. It wasn't the grenade, but that was the plan, to throw the grenade, and then just everything exploded. It wasn't his grenade.
The fucking house dropped?
No, just the whole hallway exploded. Just the whole hallway. Fucking. It's hard to describe. The best way I can describe it is I felt like the Hulk grabbed me and just did his fucking... I felt small. Just insignificant to the power. And I felt in my head immediately, I remember being on the ground. I remember looking up and dust it was just fucking weird. And I remember feeling like my arm was blown off. It was a feeling. It sounds weird, but it felt not there. And it was night, and it blew my nods off my face. Probably would have blinded me, except for my glasses. But yeah, blew my nods straight off my face. Blew up. My gun was fucked up. Couldn't use it.
I don't know if I've ever been this excited to represent a brand. I'm talking about First Form. I just align so well with what they've got. First Form is a supplement company. They have just about every supplement you can possibly imagine. All grade A stuff. Let's go through some of the stuff that, some of my favorites, all right? Here we go. 1, Enduro Performance. This is a non-stimulant pre-workout mix. Guess what? Made in the USA. Protein sticks and the protein bar. Look, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm super busy. I don't have time to go to lunch. In fact, I don't even know what a lunch break is. This is my lunch for the most part. Then we got Opta-Reds 50. Guess what? Also made in the USA. So is the protein bar and the beef sticks, actually. But Opta-Reds 50, guess what, guys? Beets, super healthy for you. Guess what? They taste like shit. This doesn't. 2 scoops, throw it in there. You get all the benefits of having beets with Opta-Reds 50. Then we've got protein. Everybody needs protein. If you're not taking protein, you should be, especially if you work out. My favorite, chocolate banana. Guys, let me tell you something else about First Form. The owner, CEO, Andy Frisella, guy has made a phenomenal company. True American dream story. Started from absolutely nothing, sleeping on a mattress in the back room of a very small shop. Now, he's built an empire. Check it out. Go to firstform.com/SRS. He's also put a culture into his company that this entire country could use right now. Gave me a ton of inspiration. I used to listen to his podcast, Real as Fuck, when I was building my first studio in the attic of my house 3.5 years ago, right when this show started. Can you believe that? Now I'm repping the brand. And if you haven't checked out their podcast, you might want to. Like I said, Real as Fuck. Check it out. I'm actually on there. I do a pretty decent job, but let me know what you think. Anyways, once again, go to firstform.com/SRS. And when you get there, if you order $75 or more worth of product, guess what? You're getting free shipping. But you're only getting that if you go to firstform.com/SRS. That's 1STPHORM/SRS. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a real American company that aligns with all the values that America stands for. Check them out. Anyone who's been paying attention is worried about when the US dollar is going to collapse. And for good reason. If you haven't been paying attention, I'm going to give you a couple things to look up here. One, you should look up how many banks have failed in the US just within the past couple months. And when I mean failed, I mean money just gone. Gone. Check your checking account, savings account, nothing. Gone. If you haven't been paying attention to that, maybe you've been paying attention to BRICS. What's BRICS? BRICS is the alliance between Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and they are actively trying to devalue the US dollar. If you don't believe me, look it up. They're actually doing a phenomenal job at devaluing the dollar and recruiting more countries into that alliance. And if you haven't been paying attention to that, maybe you've been paying attention to the digital currency stuff, where they're talking about moving from the US dollar to a digital currency. What does that look like? Nobody really knows. Is it going to be a one-for-one swap? I don't know. Here's what I do know. Everything you buy and sell with digital currency will be tracked and traced by the US government. Not everybody wants that. Some people enjoy a little privacy. So, what's the solution here? The solution might be diversification into precious metals, gold and silver. Call my friends at Lear Capital or go to learshawn.com. When you call, they're going to educate you on all the different scenarios that you can diversify your portfolio, your finances into. Look, they can roll your 401k into precious metals. They can roll in your IRAs into precious metals. You can buy physical gold and silver to have on hand if you'd like. Just call them. They're there to educate you, give you all the information that you need to properly invest into the precious metals market. There are a lot of gold companies out there to choose from. You may want to look at Lear Capital. They're trustworthy. Take action now to protect your financial future, and your freedom. Call Lear at 800-741-0551 or go to learshawn.com, and my viewers receive up to $15,000 in free bonus medals with a qualified purchase. Once again, call 800-741-0551 or go to learshawn.com. Information contained within Lear Capital's website is for general educational purposes and is not investment, tax, or legal advice. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
And so maybe it's just because I watched too many movies, I don't know. But in my head, I reverted to Saving Private Ryan and tried to look for my arm on the ground. I remember thinking of that scene when it happened. And then I didn't find anything, but I also couldn't see anything. And then I abandoned that idea. I got up. I walked outside, and there was like a porch light, and I looked at my arm, and it was just fucking, from here to here, and this was flayed out that way, and this was flayed out that way. I mean, it was broken in like 8 places. So
damn,
it was literally holding on, if you can see it, by that.
Holy shit.
I mean, dude, when I looked at it, there was zero question on my mind. It was gone. Zero. It wasn't even a thought that it was savable. So I looked at my arm like, well, that's fucked. Like, no question. Gone. And then I also was like, I had an arterial bleed. And then I was like, fuck, I lost my arm. Like, fuck, I'm going to fucking be that dude literally, I'm thinking this. I'm going to be that guy without an arm. And then I remember thinking, fuck, I'm like I have an arterial bleed. And I'm like, well, shit, if I don't fix that, I'll die. And that'll be fucking stupid. And, again, I remember these words very clearly. That'd be stupid. So, and then the wall that I had got over to get in was there. I looked at that, I'm like, well, that ain't happening. So I just fucking plopped my back against the wall and tried to get out my tourniquet. How do they teach you to put on a tourniquet?
I put mine on rubber bands on the outside.
No, on your arm, let's say. Whenever you do the training, how do they usually do it?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, my arm was fucking like...
Shit.
If your arm needs a tourniquet, you can't do this. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, fuck, I don't know how to do this. Now here's the crazy part of the story. Guess who the guy is that gets to me and puts the tourniquet on me? I've mentioned him once.
Who is it?
The team leader of the unit team in Afghanistan that I worked with. Coincidence?
Probably not.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that put the tourniquet on me. He's also, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, I'd have to ask him, but I believe he's the one that gave me the, because it blew off my auto injectors, morphine, because it was in my pocket. He gave me one like 5 minutes later. He's like, how you feeling? I'm like, still pretty shitty. And then so he gave me the other one. Another 5 minutes go by. How you feeling? Not good. Long story short, it came out in the hospital like a month later that I was morphine intolerant. They didn't test for it at the time. Didn't do anything. Like, my body doesn't process it. Because I was like, dude. I'm like thinking of these Vietnam movies of being like, oh man. And I'm like, I don't feel any better. I'll tell you what hurt like a motherfucker was the tourniquet. Because it's where you feel. Like, that thing hurt. Like, in my head, I was like, God, that thing's so tight. Can you just... Oh, no. That's the point. But yeah, I was lucky, again, fucking spoiled, had one of the best, medics probably in the entire military worked on me for 20 minutes. And then I was very lucky. We had little birds circling, I think for Cass, I can't remember. And they called one in and put me on it. So I evac'd within 20 minutes to the cache in Baghdad. But if it wasn't for that, I mean, had I not had the level of care I did, I would have probably died.
What was the explosion?
What's that?
What was the explosion?
It was a charge.
Was it your charge?
No.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. But no. But again, yeah, what are you going to do? It's fucking war. Like, it really doesn't bother me. It doesn't make a difference what it is,
Yeah.
I didn't find that out until 2 months later in the hospital. And, like, everything I thought, like, was... And they sat me down, started explaining it, and I was just like... But again...
How did you process that at the time?
I don't remember.
You're fucking good at compartmentalizing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things I legitimately don't remember. I mean, but I do know I have a good memory. So when I don't remember something, there's probably a reason. But yeah. And again, it's just everyone loves to, or not loves, I shouldn't say it that way, but like, you hear the word why.
You said you grew up you said this off camera. You said you grew up an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think you were going to die there?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. Actually. So, I'm so glad you asked that. And actually, I didn't tell you, but I'll tell you so at the, I went to Christian camp, I think I was 8, I don't exactly remember, but it was the camp that I shit my pants at. And, cause I wet my bed for till I was 15. Like, I shit you not.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's pretty common with alcoholic parents. It's just what is it? It's like stress, yeah, I would probably pee my bed most nights. And I would go on sleepovers and I would be fucking terrified. Anyway, so I go to this camp, and me being the one to one up myself, I don't pee my pants. I shit my pants in the cabin with everyone. And I remember being in the bathroom cleaning shit up out of my pajamas. I don't know. And I just remember being so angry at it was a religious camp, and I just was like, there's no God, and it was either the day before or the day after. I honestly don't know. And the guy was saying something, and I listened to it, and I'm like, nope, bullshit. No, doesn't make sense. I don't agree. And after that, I tuned out. There was also another thing where we all got in trouble because and couldn't go ride horses because some other kids did something, group punishment. And I was like, fuck that. I don't agree with that. It's not what God would do, And so, yeah, that kind of was the end of organized religion for me. So then when I got blown up, it was when I never lost consciousness except when they got me over the wall, which I have no idea how they did it. I need to ask someone because I have no idea. I lost consciousness, I'm sure, from pain there because I don't remember that at all. It's only a 5-minute period. I don't remember. And then they got me like into the open area, and then and it was before because the medic was treating the guys that were shot on the front side. And when he finally before he got to me, it occurred to me that I might die. Like, and so then I was like, quite honestly, a little excited about like, oh shit, this is when religion hits you. And I was like, still bullshit. There was nothing for me.
Do you keep in touch with these guys that you were on that op with?
No.
I didn't think so.
I'll tell you this. One of them was Andy Stump. Andy Stump was one of the guys that got shot on the front side of the house. I haven't been on Andy's podcast, but Andy, I mean, we put it out, mentioned on Instagram, but Andy was one of the guys. That's when Andy got shot. What are the odds?
Damn.
But I, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm probably avoiding it. There's probably a reason I haven't asked Andy to do this podcast. There's probably a reason that I don't keep in contact really with any of them, Not that I have, so long ago. I mean, I quite honestly, I can't imagine my arm normal now, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like the shit I learned about myself, I wouldn't give that up for anything. I'd do the same thing over again. But yeah, there was nothing there. And again, it doesn't mean anything if you're a religious person. Just for me, it didn't change me. It didn't change my mind, My thinking was, with all the shit in this world, and again, with all the shit in this world, like, and it's what I used to say, with all the shit in this world, if God has a problem with me not believing in him, with all the bad shit, and I'm going to hell for that, well then fuck you. I'll burn in hell as protest. That was kind of my joking, just like, no, like that's irrational, But yeah, in that moment, I was just like, no, I don't feel it. Which again, I'll be perfectly honest, was disappointing for me. I was looking for something bigger than myself, and I didn't feel it, And then I got flown to the cache, and I went in there. And very quickly they stuck something up my ass. Which was odd. They check for internal fragmentation, but they take my clothes off, and the next thing I know, they stick. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? It's right here, right here. You can see it. I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable, so I made a lot. Actually, quite honestly, I made there was some solid material, a solid material before surgery. Like when they took off my pants, I was like, you girls know, because it was January or February. I'm like, you girls know it's cold outside. You guys know about shrinkage, right? I mean, I was dropping these. These were golden fucking eggs, and nothing. So disappointed. So disappointed. And they were also freaking out because they were trying to take my vest off, and I had charges, fucking frags. They're in the hospitals. They're like, "Oh my god, live ordinance!" They were like freaking out, and I'm like, I've been fucking carrying that shit with me all like. It's okay. It's not going to explode on its own. But, yeah, and then they grabbed me for surgery, and they were wheeling me in, and they're like, we're going to cut your arm off. And I was like, but they just hit me with fucking drugs. So I was like, you can fucking fucking cut both my legs off too. I don't give a fuck right now. And then I woke up the next morning and it was there. And I'll give a little shout out to, then I went to, I got flown very quickly to Balad, and I think it was McChrystal came and visited. JSOC Commander at the time.
Damn, man.
Came and visited me personally and was like, and I was just kind of like, the fuck? I mean, again, I was on a lot of drugs. I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, I heard one of our guys was here. I was like, I mean, there's a reason they call him Stan the Man, you know? But I'll never forget that. That was very, very solid of him. It was just me, you know? And then he asked me what my opinion was. Again, another joke. And I said, I think that we should leave and nuke it from space. It's the only way to be sure. Do you know what that's from?
I don't.
It's from Aliens. When he's like, I think we should leave and nuke it to be safe. It's the only way to be sure. It's Michael Bihn's line but he's supporting Sigourney Weaver. But again, I make these like,
Yeah.
and he was just like, I was like, I'm on drugs. Leave me alone. And then I'll tell you what sucked fucking balls. You know, when you're watching a movie, the character gets hurt, maybe gets evacuated, cut to him in the U.S. Dude, the medevac flight to Germany was something out of a nightmare.
Really?
Dude, again, one of those things I'll never forget. So at the time, it was a 141. They didn't have a C-17 medevac yet. And dude, so I had our doctor unit with me. Like, he was assigned to me. Andy was there. That team was there. But then everyone else was like, you know, conventional forces. There was a bunch of Marines that got blown up. I'm forgetting what. And I mean, dude, my doc, like, dude, if I wanted a fucking glass of water, you give me a glass of water. I mean, there's one nurse working the whole plane. And it was just watching these Marines that had gotten blown up that needed like pain. Dude, it again, fucking disgusted me. And finally, like, I think it was I can't remember, but the doctor just saw it and was like, hey, are you good? I'm like, fuck yes, I'm good. Go help them, you know, but that was sad. And then when we got to Germany, and again, I am fucked up on drugs and literally fucked up. It's just shit I'll never forget. So they unloaded you from the plane and then they put you in this, like, more of a van than a truck. And it's like, they had, I think, 3 levels of the stretchers, right? And it's like you had to go up and then tilt onto this, like, holder thing because it held you like this. And I am laying there and I'm watching, and again, it was 4 women. And I mean, dude, my girlfriend's a fitness person, ex-girlfriend's a fitness person. There are a lot of strong women. Nothing sexist here. These women weren't those. And I'm watching and I'm like, they're going to drop that guy. There's no fucking way. Like, they're going to drop him. And they weren't super tall. Sure as shit, fucking dropped a guy. And I was like, they're not loading me on there. But I was just like,
damn.
Not a good idea. I remember, like, and then anyways, I had a bunch of surgeries in Germany and then got to the U.S. and I only did like a day at Walter Reed, and then they put me in our hospital so the unit could be close and monitor me with our doctors. And then, you know, fucking shitload of surgeries, and then I mean, I had surgeries for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, just until, because you have to fix one piece at a time. So it took 3 or 4 years.
Damn. When did you get out?
So I was actually telling you this earlier. So when I got out in '07, I chose to medically retire because at the time, they told me that it would take 5 years, and I forget the percentage, but it was lower than 50%. Again, you know, what their advice was, lower than a 50% chance that I would be able to return to a team after 5 years. And I was like, no, that's, it's not worth 5 years of my life for 50-50. But I don't even think it was 50-50. I think it was like 40 or 30%. And I knew for those 5 years, I'd be watching everyone else deploy, doing what I wanted to do, and not be. I mean, I think I even said it. I'm like, dude, I killed myself. Like I'm not strong enough to do that. I know what I'm strong at, and I know what I'm weak at, and I can't do that. So, you're offering me, I want to be a surgeon, and I can't be a surgeon anymore, and you're offering me every other job in the hospital. And if I can't be a surgeon, I just don't want to work in the hospital anymore. And so I chose to get out.
Damn. How long did that fuck with you for?
A while. Because later, later became obvious that I definitely would have been able to go to a team. Definitely. They were right about the time frame, about 5 years. But at the time, I thought 5 years, Afghanistan was pretty much done. I mean, at that time, Iraq, I knew it had only 3-4 years left. So my thinking was, even if I was that 30-40% and I go to a team, there's going to be nothing going on. So, after I pulled the plug on myself and then, freaking Afghanistan kicks up again, and then, ISIS, and it just, yeah, it's hard and easy. And what I mean by that is, the hard part is it was my decision. The easy part is it was my decision. I'm not a victim of it. It's my decision. And my reasoning at the time, my logical basis for why I chose to do what I did, made sense. It was based on all the available information that did end up happening, but I didn't know that. No way I could have known that. So, I came to terms with it. I shouldn't even say I came to terms with it. Like, I'm pretty confident had I stayed in, I would have died.
Yeah.
I'm highly confident.
Why do you think that?
Because I was stupid as fuck. Just dumb. Just like my dad. Like, just very self-destructive. Like, I did a lot of risky things that were dumb.
Looking back now, that's been, 15 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we ever should have been in Iraq?
So at this point, with any of them, I just no longer look at everything like, to me, the way I feel now is it's almost irrelevant, because Afghanistan. So people could say, well, Afghanistan is definitely justified because Osama bin Laden, planned it, and then he was in Afghanistan, and they wouldn't give him up. So that war is justified, but Iraq, that one, should we have been there? Okay, well, fuck, we went and sent, a very small unit to just go get him in Pakistan. Couldn't we have done that in Afghanistan? Did we have to invade the whole... It's just like... Now, dude, I just look at the politics of everything and the politicians and that whole machine. And I don't trust anything it says. Like, nothing.
It's a fucking shame, man. I don't think any of us do anymore.
Yeah, I literally don't have any belief in that system anymore. None.
I don't either.
So...
That's fucking sad.
It is, but it's because we've seen it firsthand. And it's just... It's a mechanism. Like war is a mechanism. It's a tactic.
It's a lot of things.
But it's not what we think it is, Now, I'm sure it was different at some points, but look at Ukraine. Like, you're a Russian soldier, conscript in Ukraine, getting blown up by a javelin that you never even fucking saw. Now, are the Ukrainians right in blowing up the tank? Fuck yes. But does this Russian soldier probably want to be there? Probably not, and it's... Are they there because Ukraine, Ukraine's going to attack Russia? Really? Like, seriously? That's your reasoning. You're going with that, That's like Taiwan attacking and taking over China. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Or your justification for attacking the Ukraine is you're worried about the military buildup in NATO. So you attack a country because you're worried that they're building up. Like, you realize that probably is going to make like the exact opposite is going to happen. They're going to build up more because you literally declared war on what used to be a part of the Soviet Union. I don't, people are like, I'm going to go fight in Ukraine. I'm like, dude, have fun. It's just not my game anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a game. It's absolutely a game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I try and explain it. It's absolutely a game. But that's not the scary thing.
What's the scary thing?
So the scary thing is, for that game to be played, you have to have players. And we were the players.
Yeah.
And we played. Why did we play? Well, I can tell you why I played. Because I fucking wanted to. Dude, I would watch Rambo and I wanted PTSD. Like, I wanted to be fucked up like Rambo. Yes, I know it says I was a fucked up kid. I get that. But I wanted to go to war. Like, when we got orders to Afghanistan, I re-enlisted for 6 years. So you've had to have the people to agree to go. And we are fast approaching a point in human society where a person will be able to wage war without people. And that's fucking scary.
Yeah.
And it's coming.
It's happening.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's happening on a smaller scale, but I mean, I'm telling you right now, freaking Elon Musk could probably buy, Elon Musk is apparently a pretty solid dude, but like, someone could buy a autonomous army and wage war without, no approval from anyone. No, fucking programming, go. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to me. And that's what scares me about the future is the ability to, the further you are away from the destruction, the easier it is to do. The difference between me shooting you at 200 yards and me shooting you at 2 yards. It's a fundamental difference in my perspective of violence.
Yeah.
And my perspective of killing. And the further we get away from the effect, the further the cause gets away from the effect, there's just a lot of risk in that.
The easier it is to do.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No emotional attachment, nothing.
No. And, you know, what if you didn't even, I mean, this is like, I like sci-fi. I think of movie stories, but what if you didn't even know what you're doing was real? I mean, dude, they can make an app. It's a game. It's a drone game. You drop a bomb on somebody, and it could be controlling a real drone. Like, you don't even...
Yeah.
It's extreme, but I'm just saying, like...
It's not that extreme.
It's crazy.
You know? I mean, if it's not up close and personal, then there's no emotional attachment, and it really, you know, you don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and you know, I think that's something. There's no connection either to friendlies.
Yeah.
You know, so when we started making the switch from Spectre, Apaches, fast movers, A-10s, you know, to drones.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but we used to go meet all the pilots, everything. Sounds weird, but it's one big happy family, right? Or one big family. And now, you don't meet them. At least we didn't. You know, when that started happening, we didn't. It's not like you go meet the drone pilots who are flying out of who knows where, Nevada or wherever.
Yeah, it used to be Vegas, yeah.
You know, now, which means if you're in some shit on the ground, they don't know who the fuck you are. There's no emotional attachment.
Yeah.
It's not, shit, I just
Well, it's
broke
not-
bread with
it-
those gents right before this operation. I got to get in there and fucking
Or
save 'em.
even a person in an A-10 that can see the ground, you know, or whatever, CAS or, you know, but can like see the people on the ground, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's everything's heading in a direction that is unprecedented, you know.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll get into civilian
All right.
transition.
Sounds good.
Perfect. You've probably heard me talk about my psychedelic journey last year and all the benefits that came from doing it. One being that I haven't drank in almost a year. I've not had any caffeine in almost a year. My anxiety is gone. My anger is gone. A whole list of benefits came from that, and it led me down this journey of researching benefits of mushrooms and fungi in general. In my research, I found this company called Mudwater. Mudwater is a coffee alternative with 4 adaptogenic mushrooms and herbs with a fraction of the caffeine as a cup of coffee. I have energy without anxiety, jitters, or the crash of coffee. What I really like about Mudwater is that they took the time to find the perfect ingredients to make a product to help you feel better every day. I genuinely believe that Mudwater is a good product. It's Whole30 approved, 100% USD organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, and kosher certified. Mudwater also donates monthly to the Berkeley Center for Science of Psychedelics, as Mudwater believes the country's in a mental health epidemic, and so do I. Go to mudwater.com/Shawn to support the show and use the code ShawnMud for 15% off. That's mudwater.com/Shawn. Use the code ShawnMud for 15% off. I want to tell you all about this new meat delivery service I found called Moink. What I really like about Moink is they are from a small rural farm town in Missouri, LaBelle, Missouri, right by where I grew up, and I love supporting small town business USA. Now, when I started looking into Moink, they educated me on the meat industry, and I want to share with you all a couple of facts, according to Moinked magazine. 60% of all pork is produced by one company in the U.S., and that is 100% owned by the Chinese. 4 companies control over 80% of the meat industry in the United States. More than 10,000 different additives are allowed in the U.S. food supply. 99% of chicken, 95% of hogs, 78% of cattle in the U.S. are raised in confinement buildings or feedlots. That means they're not moving around freely. 80% of the antibiotics consumed in the U.S. are fed to animals. Here's a stat. In 2016, 18.4 million pounds of antibiotics were sold for livestock. And that's what you're eating. Suicide rates amongst farmers are the highest than any other profession, and that includes veterans, believe it or not. I found that alarming. Now, here's what Moink is doing to combat some of this stuff, which I really appreciate. Their livestock is 100% born and raised and harvested humanely in the United States of America. Their farms practice regenerative agricultural methods. They are free of GMOs, antibiotics, and all hormones. Their Alaska salmon is wild caught. Their beef and lamb are grass-fed and grass-finished. Their boxes ship from rural America, right in small town Missouri. Love it. Their chicken and pork are pasture raised. So, guys, check them out. Moink. Keep America farming going by signing up at moinkbox.com/SRS. Right now, listeners on this show get free bacon in your first box. It will be the best bacon you will ever taste, but it's only for a limited time. It's spelled Moink, MOINK, box.com/SRS. That's moinkbox.com/SRS. All right, Tyler, we're back from the break. We're going to get into civilian transition and all the glorious shit that happens during that time.
During the break, what did we sell? Toothpaste?
What's that?
What did we sell during the break? Toothpaste?
I don't know what we're selling yet. Probably gummy bears.
Pharmaceuticals, more than likely.
Yeah, no kidding.
Have you ever tried Restrepo? Ask your doctor now. Side effects of Restrepo are crazy. Yeah, all right, let's do it.
So we left off, you're medically retired.
Yep. Yeah, so medically retired. Just to...
Where's home for you? Where are you going?
I got to go a little bit back to... I was about to say, but I got to go a little bit back for context. 6 inches, but it's thick. 6 months before I got hurt, I started dating this girl. Okay. That girl would be the one that, when I mentioned the two exes that cheated on me, she was the first of that, to tie them together. Mm-hmm. That the one that I just recently had dinner with, a couple, 6 months ago, whatever. So her and I were together. I got blown up, and she was living in Portland, and I was living in, obviously North Carolina. And I didn't know where I was from California. Looking back, this is funny because of how California is now. But even then, I was like, I don't know, I'm not going back to California. Like, government's crazy there. Shit. Little did I know. Little did I know what would happen. So, I forget how we came up with it, to be honest with you, but we ended up just choosing Vegas. She got a job there doing entertaining. And, I was still going through surgeries and stuff like that, for a couple years. And then when I stopped, I tried to do the training thing there. And then I did also the bodyguarding thing based out of there. So yeah, I lived in Vegas, and now looking back at it, why did I Why did I choose Vegas? A bunch of reasons. One, I think, it's a place where no one's from. Most people move there from somewhere else, do their thing, and then leave. It's a very transient city for people that are kind of unsure maybe of their direction. And I think that was me. Or I don't think, I know. But yeah. So we moved together to Vegas, and I don't know, maybe 2 years more of surgery at that point ish. And then once the surgeries were over, I had that was about when, like when the surgeries were happening, I kind of had it sucks, but you're in a transition. You're not like, okay, what's the next step? Like, you got another surgery in 4 months, so it's easy to kind of like stay in that mode. When the surgeries were done, my last surgery was at the Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale. I'm actually the first active duty military person ever to get surgery at the Mayo Clinic, randomly. And which is amazing, like amazing hospital. And so, they, which actually I'll say what they told me when I went there. This was awesome. So I go to the Mayo Clinic, which for those in the audience that don't know, the Mayo Clinic is like the tier 1 of hospitals. They're the hospital that does stuff that then the other hospitals learn from. Like they are the top hospital. So I go to the hospital, or go to Mayo. I don't even know the number of surgery this was. And they evaluate me. So once the military was done with me, I was sent to Mayo to see if there's anything they could do. So I go there. Mayo looks at me and goes, "Ooh, I don't understand." Yeah, we can, we can do this surgery. I mean, if you would have came here, you'd have like 40% more function.
Damn.
I'm like, awesome. Thanks for telling me. You son of a bitch. Like, not exactly shocked. But, so anyways, they, when that was over with, it was like 2 years, post, that's when the identity crisis stuff I spoke about earlier really started. Being in the transition phase of the surgeries wasn't really, it was when everything was over with and it's not going to get any better. This is it. Like, you're here. And also, dude, no one told me, like, I'd never done a street drug in my life. I'd never done any drugs in my life. I never even smoked pot when I joined the military. And no one told me that the pain medication was basically heroin. No one mentioned that little nugget. I didn't know. So that was a nice bonus. But, I mean, I was absolutely without question, I didn't officially, but I was definitely clinically depressed. No doubt in my mind. The question I kept asking myself over and over and over and over again was, why can't I get over this? What's wrong with me? Why can't I overcome this? Like, I've always been able to overcome this. Why can't I? It's like, and to me, in hindsight, that told just chemically, I wasn't myself. And I was definitely clinically depressed, no doubt about it. And also taking opiates at the time for every surgery. I would be on, medication in the hospital, get out of the hospital, be on opiates, get off opiates, maybe have a month off them, another surgery, and that cycle repeated for a couple years without really knowing that what they were.
Yeah.
So I was still using them at this time, like for pain. But again, they come with a big downside that I wasn't really aware of. Because they definitely affect your mood, no question about it. So I was clinically depressed. And actually, again, I don't mind saying this because I talked to her about it not too long ago. But, I probably was clinically depressed for 2-3 years. Maybe not 3, probably 2. It's just, I was never suicidal. That's just not me. But I was definitely avoiding life. When I went out with my girlfriend and her girlfriends, dude, I'd get fucking hammered. True story. On New Year's in Vegas, I threw up at Paris Hilton's table. True story.
That'll get you an extra bag of gummy bears.
I was also there bodyguarding, and another ranger told Paris to shut her fucking sea mouth. It's one of my better days. No, it was... I got some stories from bodyguarding.
I'll bet that one's great.
Oh, there's only one reason he got away with it. But
he got away with it?
Yes. For one reason. Well, I'll tell you, it's not. I mean, we were guarding the owner of the nightclub, who was a multi-billionaire. We were in his nightclub. She was a guest of his. He had too much to drink and was about to faint. And we're like, can you please get up? Because we got to sit him down. And she's like, you can't, Basically, we're like, move or we're moving you. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
This is the client. He paid you to be here, and he's about to pass out. We're gonna, you know what I mean? And then she started mouthing off to him, and he said that. But because of the situation and who he was, and he got away with it. But somebody probably got fired over it, but it wasn't him. Anyways, I got some crazy. Clinically depressed. So, I'd go out and get just fucking drunk as shit. I mean, go get I partied pretty much during that time, during the clinical depression. I was probably going out with my girlfriend and her friends, her entertainer friends, for probably 4 to 5 nights a week.
How long? What time are you coming home?
I would bring my sunglasses to the club.
Nice.
It's the way to go in Vegas. And I mean, dude, we would, get a table, and I mean, dude, I would drink till I passed out, I've never been a heavy, I didn't have my first drink until I got back from Afghanistan because my dad was an alcoholic. I hated alcohol, but they talked me into it. So I was like, all right. And then once that can of worms was opened, I don't have the ability to not be an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. Because what I'm searching for is not, I mean, this is logical to me too, though. Why would you drink unless the intent was to get drunk? It's literally poison. Well, it tastes good? No. If I'm going to drink, I want to get fucked up. So, I was always searching for oblivion. Just the nothingness. you know? And, yeah, so I drank, you know, like in hindsight, I was absolutely an alcoholic at that time. But because it was social, it's not like I was drinking at home, you know? But when we went out and got a table and bottles, yeah, dude, I was drinking until couldn't drink anymore. But it also, when everyone else is kind of doing, I mean, not as extreme as being, I went big, but everyone's drinking, you know, you just don't see it for what it is. It wasn't until years later that I figured out, oh shit, I was an alcoholic during that time. And I was taking pain meds with it. So that's when I started figuring out, like, all right, like, you know, I'm having issues. You know, something's not right. And it was at that time only time actually in my life that I went to the VA, and I was like, hey, I'm having some mental health, you know, concerns, you know, whatever I said. And they gave me, I don't remember, but it was at least 5 prescriptions. At least. One of them made me pretty much incapable of doing anything. Seroquel. It's like a nuclear bomb. And then I went and saw their therapist, and then I got annoyed with their therapist, and I hired my own therapist, and everyone kept saying the same thing. You have PTSD, you have PTSD. And I'm like, okay, so I read books, and then after reading the books, I would, you know, ask them what I already knew, but, you know, what's PTSD? Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, I'm talking about this, and you guys are talking about this. But you keep saying, I'm saying this, you're saying PTSD is this, but you're saying this is PTSD too, and it's not. No, I mean, it's part of PTSD. I'm like, all right. Why do I have PTSD? I'm like, well, you know, your experiences in combat, but I'm like, oh, okay. So PTSD is a combat thing. No. Oh, well, I thought that's where you were going. Okay, so PTSD is like a military veteran thing. No. Again, I'm kind of confused. So it's not a combat thing. It's not a veteran or military thing. Well, who can have PTSD? Oh, anyone. Anyone. For what? Pretty much anything. I didn't go to college, so excuse me. But
Another outstanding VA doctor.
oh no, this is actually a civilian one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm like, I didn't go to college. I don't have a master's, or definitely don't have a doctorate, and I'm not an English lit major or an English major. But aren't words supposed to mean something specific? Call me crazy, but a chair doesn't mean 40 things. It means fucking chair. You can have 40 different, you know, a million types of chairs, but they're all chairs. Like, one phrase can't mean everything. Can't mean everything, and it can't mean everyone. And that's when I started searching for my own answers. Because if something means everything to everyone, then it means fucking nothing. It's a catch-all phrase. Now I know what it really is. Do you know what it really is?
PTSD?
In the healthcare sense.
Oh, I think it's a blanket diagnosis.
It's a billing code. It's a blanket diagnosis for a specific mental health. It's in the DSM, so they can put something that they don't know where else to put it under that. What it is. I'm saying that because if anyone's out there and keeps hearing PTSD and it doesn't fit you, or it's, you know, people keep telling you, it's, at the end of the day, if you want to fix yourself, you have to fix yourself. I don't give a fuck who it is. VA, civilian, you are your own specialist. You are your own expert. And I started getting better once I started doing my own research and researching shit myself and looking things up and learning and understanding. I had become an expert to fix myself. Not that I still don't have a million things to learn. But I learned enough to realize that, PTSD as an example. Let's say you have it right down the checklist. Is that it? Is that the only problem with you? I can answer that right now. Fuck no, it isn't. And I'll say that to anyone to their face. No, it isn't. And the reason I know that is there's no fucking way that you don't have issues from your childhood that are unresolved, that contribute to issues in an adult. Okay. On top of that, like every time, here's a good question. How do veterans who don't serve combat have PTSD?
Well, we kind of talked about this earlier. It's all relative.
It's all relative, but it goes back to it's because they're putting what they don't know where to put it under PTSD. What I personally think every vet suffers from, actually I don't think, I know, it's not debatable, it's fact. What do we all suffer from? Loss. You suffer loss the day you get out. The day you go from active to veteran, that day, you suffer loss. Loss of job, literally. Loss of friends. It's not going to be the same. Loss of identity. You have all these losses. And if you look at the symptoms of the 7 steps of grieving, for most people, that's more accurate than PTSD. It's loss. Now, another one, a term that I hate. All right, you guys need to reintegrate. So let's talk about reintegration. I don't need to fucking reintegrate. For 2 reasons. One, would you say at 18 you're integrated in society?
No.
No. So are you reintegrating if you joined at 18? Or are you integrating?
It's a damn good point.
You've never been in society. I mean, real society. Never been in the real world. You were in school. So everyone's talking about reintegration as if we know what it was like to be integrated. And we just got to remember, it's like riding a bike. Fuck you. Like, never been there. I don't know what it's like. Not only that, but you need to, reintegrate or integrate. Well, in a way, like, how many people are integrating, whatever, and miserable?
Pretty much everybody.
And the reason some people are miserable, if you really look at it, is because of that integration. And what I mean by that is, if you are you, and I say, you need to go into this environment where everyone is different than you, and you need to be like them. But you're not. You're going to be fucking miserable. Yeah. Because you're trying to pretend to be something you're not.
You think this is military-wide, or do you think this is soft-specific?
I think it's
or combat
I think
MLS
I think it's military.
specific?
I think it's military-wide.
Well, I mean,
Here's why, though. Reason is, I believe that many people join I believe that many people join to, like in hindsight, I joined because I wanted to be self-destructive for a cause. Because that gave me worth. I'm not worth anything on my own. But if I join this cause and I sacrifice myself for a greater good, then I have worth in that redemption. That's why I joined. I mean, it took me a long time to figure that out, but I think it's more common than people think if they really thought about it. And where I'm going with that is the identity thing. The reason that the identity thing I think is military-wide is, I would argue, most people, like I said, I think you know who you are as a kid, and then shit gets in your way. So then around that time, I mean, think about how you were, or how most people are at 18, pretty unsure of who you are in the world. So whether you're unsure, I would argue that most people don't really have a solid identity at 18. On top of that, let's just say you did. Solid identity. In either case, you join the military, and their entire process is to strip it and give you a new one. So if you had one, it's going to get taken away and a new one's going to be given to you. And if you didn't have one, great. We got one for you.
Yeah.
And what is your identity in the military? Your job. Your identity and your job are the same thing. So when you get out, when you lose the job, that's the identity. Why do you think people identify as veterans?
I think there's multiple reasons.
I mean, there's multiple reasons, but a lot of people, like, if you're now doing this job, but you're saying you're a veteran, it's, to me, you're still in that identity of being in. You may be out, but you're still in your head. You haven't really gotten out. And, that's not a blanket statement. Exceptions to everything, but that veteran is a term representing something done in the past, by definition. But when you're your job, and look, I'm not saying I don't think you could do the job without it being your identity. I think that's what it has to be. But you're automatically, or not you, but that system is absolutely setting up. It's giving you an identity and then stripping it.
I mean, I'd agree with you. I also, it's different. I'm not looking to debate here, but if you take a guy like you or I, they rip you out of society. You're with, I can't speak for your experience. For my experience, I'm with 16 people in a SEAL platoon. At that time frame that I was in. My whole fucking year is with those 16.
Yeah.
Not my whole year. My whole 2-year cycle. And then if I do another cycle with them, that's 4 years.
The whole thing.
And so your identity is shooting, blowing shit up, going to war, getting in fucking bar fights. I mean, you're a warrior. That is not military wide. A lot of military people come home to their families. They have regular jobs. They're in the medical field. They have camaraderie. They never deploy. They have, and so.
I should have been specific. When I said military wide, what I heard, or what I was saying in my head, was service wide. I agree. It's not every job, every MOS, but I would say there's groups in every service that you know what I mean. Like,
yes, They rip when you're in a soft unit. You're ripped from everything willingly.
I would say probably
But-
a blanket statement could be definitely all combat arms. Definitely
I
all
would agree
combat
with you.
arms and others that, I mean, we don't have to talk about every job, but definitely all combat arms.
That's not a hit on any
no,
other
no,
veterans
I know,
either. I just want to make that clear.
Dude, if you joined, like I know somebody that joined for 4 years, wanted to be an x-ray tech, joined for 4 years, went to radar tech military school, then worked in a hospital for the remaining, 2.5, 3 years, whatever it was. Then got a shitload of money for college. Now she's a radar tech or a x-ray tech and has been because she came out with the schooling and experience, and then she got more college. Like, we didn't use the system right.
Yeah.
But you can. And the people that do, freaking hats off to you, because, it definitely, I think, good on them. The people that don't freaking commit to that level of, well, again, destruction. The people that are using it, computer skills, I mean, we're the ones that, got jobs that translate to nothing.
Yeah.
I remember the ACAP thing when I was in there, and they're like,
We're the ones that got jobs that translate to nothing.
No, I remember
It's
literally.
the truth.
It is the truth. I remember being in the ACAP thing and trying to do the resume, that whole thing, and I was trying to, so when I ACAP from the unit, even you still have to go to the big army for like the ACAP.
What is ACAP?
I don't even know what it stands for. It did basically it means it's a little month-long school or whatever before you get out to prepare you for the real world.
Okay.
Which it doesn't. But they make you make a resume, and I'm like, I was talking to the guy, and I'm like, I did this, and he's just like,
You're like, who the fuck am I going to turn this into?
yeah, he's like, no, you just have to take, well, this is what he tells me. No, you just have to take your military skills and then just reword them into something civilian. And I was like, all right, demo. And he's like, let me come over there and help you, And I think everything on my resume just turned into like leadership, It was like, there was that was it. But yeah. No, definitely not. I think every service has, components of that, except Space Force. They're too young to have any, identity issues. But, it's one of those things where it took me years to figure out what my problems were, And I think
This is all self-research?
if there's anything that I am good at or have a skill at, it's, I'm pretty self-aware. Probably, I don't know why. I don't know what that's based on, but I've always been pretty self-aware. And so I would just constantly, so that you saw the documentary, or do you know about it?
I know about
Or
it.
you know about it. Okay, so in the documentary, there is video diary footage that I filmed.
Oh, really?
And what I was doing, there was a reason for it. And the reason was so after that last experience with the therapist, I was like, fuck therapist. Like, they suck. And also at this time, by the way, I thought having a college degree meant you were smart. What did I know? And that they knew more than me. Just like, you have a degree in this, so you know more than me. Not necessarily. And so I was like, I'm done with therapists. All they do is listen to what I say and tell me shit. And then I come to my own conclusions. And I'm paying for it. Fuck that. So what I started doing was I would film myself every day. I would do a video diary. and I would talk about how I was feeling, issues, whatever. And then I would go back later, watch it, and then try and self-assess and detached from that immediate moment, and then try and watch it like I was a therapist watching someone else. And then that's how I would figure out patterns and stuff that I felt were, I'm seeing this is reoccurring.
I've actually thought about doing that, believe it or not. How would you start it?
Hey, Tyler, it's you again. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I joke.
Seriously, though, because I'll procrastinate it. I haven't done it, but I've wanted to do it.
No format. Turn on one of these things and just, I'm not joking actually when I say, hey, Tyler, it's you again, but you already know that. Like, I would start with a joke. That's just me. And then when I watch it later, obviously I thought I was hilarious, but...
How long would these be?
Depends on how long I felt like talking, till I just... It could be 2 minutes if it was something small. It could be 20 minutes. I don't know what the longest one was, but it was just as long as I felt like I had something to say.
Would you think about what you're going to say before you turn the camera on? You would literally just set the camera down and talk into the camera for X amount of time.
Yep.
What would wrap it up?
Just when I felt like...
You got it out?
When I felt like I had nothing more to contribute, I'd shut it off. Or, I mean, not contribute, but just get out, I guess, like you said. Like, okay, it's out. Then I'd stop it. Yeah. I'm sure the longest one was probably a fucking hour, but it's just like anything, Those videos, dude, when they, we filmed the documentary for a year and a half. And the director was like, man, because he was editing, and he's like, I'm happy with what we're, the message and everything. There's so many things you say. I wish we could go back to you during that time, post-injury. And I was like, we can. And he's like, what? I didn't tell him. I mean, I filmed it for me.
Holy shit, I never thought they didn't even know you were doing this?
I had no idea. I literally, no idea.
How long have you been doing this?
Now I do it much less frequently, but at the time I was doing it every day.
How many?
4 years.
How many?
There's like 1,000-ish.
How do you store them?
On external hard drive.
Do you date them?
Yeah. When I had to go through them all to give to the documentary, I did a much better. There was no organization before that, and it took a fucking long time to go through. But there's some stuff on there that I wouldn't even watch now. Just fucking, just broken, just fundamentally broken, and. It's just sad. It's like watching, it's you, but it's not you, But yeah, I was like, I got these videos that I was doing, and they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. Like, would you give them to us? I was like, sure. And you know what the crazy thing is? This is crazy. When I had to watch them all before I gave them, because I had to make sure there was nothing like that I shouldn't put out on there. And...
You watched all those?
Yeah.
Over again?
Yeah. It was not a fun process at that time. And I remembered a lot of shit that I completely forgot about. But I would be watching and I'd be like, ooh, man, this is important. And I logged all the important stuff, basically. Anything that was, it had to have it had to have me transitioning, it couldn't be about, me getting in an argument with my brother, as an example. Not that happened, but you know what I mean? It had to be relative. So I had to go through and make like timestamps of all the relevant shit and then pull the footage and then I sent it. But the stuff that I was like, this is by far going to be in it. This is really important. Good shit. Not in the movie.
Why not?
So stuff that I was like, this is not important at all, but it is relative to the documentary, so I'll include it, but it's not going to make it. That's all in the movie. And it taught me something. What you think is interesting about your story is not what other people will think is interesting. What you think is uninteresting about your personal story is what others will be interested in. Dude, there's like a moment in the documentary that's nothing to me. I shouldn't say nothing, but it wasn't meaningful. Dude, I've had hundreds of people tell me that really fucking affected them.
What was it?
So I'm on the computer. I'm filming. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, I'm doing a diary, and I don't remember what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about how fucked up I am. The arm still got the lobster claw. That's the extent of it. Arm's looking decent. Want to see the guns? That's what I'm talking about, baby! So, anyways. Fuck those people. Seriously, fuck them. Because here's the thing I realized in LA. Nobody gives a fuck what you did in the military in LA. Nobody gives a fuck where you were at, what you did. Nobody fucking cares. So I'm just not going to mention it. I don't want to fucking talk about it anyways. And I don't want to fucking talk about it. And nobody gives a shit. It doesn't get you anywhere. What you did in the military means fucking nothing in civilian life. Nobody gives a fuck. While I'm filming, my dad calls on the phone. And I answer. I didn't stop filming. So I answer it. And you don't hear his side, but you get what he's saying from me, which is, he's like, oh, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. No, I'm doing good. It's total fucking, I'm fucking just talking about how fucked up I am. And my dad calls me and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good, Dad. Great. No issues.
I could definitely see that.
That moment didn't register. I think when I watched it, it just was like, I didn't really.
Is there anything specific that you wish was in the movie that didn't make it?
There's several diary things that I don't remember exactly what they were, but there was at least 20 things that that I thought were very important.
Would you want to put it in this episode?
Oh, fuck, I'd have to go through and see if I can find them. Sure. I don't care. I'll do it. I just have to see if I labeled them well enough to find those things. Does that make sense?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you have one, I'll put it in right now.
Wait, have one what?
I'll splice it into this episode now.
Yeah, no. I'll when I get home, I'll look and see if.
Yeah, fire a clip
I'm pretty sure I have.
I would love to see that.
Because I'm pretty sure I have just the isolated clips of what I pulled for the doc. So I'll just have to look. Or I can get it from Rick, who did the documentary. So, yeah, dude, you can watch them all. I don't, again.
Whatever you think's relevant. One little...
Yeah, no.
Whatever clip.
But again, quite honestly, I'd rather send you the whole... It's not... I didn't send them that many clips. Dude, I'd send them to you freaking... I don't know what's relevant. I know that.
Okay.
I don't know what's relevant. Because again, what I think is like, I just, none of them I thought were important. But I'll see what I have. Or if I group them well enough by disc, then I might be able to isolate it even more. But
I'm going to do that now too.
Dude, it's so I guess where I got the idea from is pretty interesting. I read this story or watched it. I don't remember. Well, I didn't watch it. It was no streaming then. It wasn't like a documentary. I read it somewhere. But there was a dude that had multiple personality disorder. And he had been diagnosed. And so he started recording himself and then watching it later to learn the personalities. Because they're not aware of each other. So he was trying to learn more about himself.
No shit.
That's where I got the idea from.
Damn.
I mean,
how the hell did you run into
I don't
that?
have multiple personality disorder, but I I don't have multiple personality disorder. But to be perfectly frank, I felt like I did. I felt like I was so different from day to day that's what, it wasn't just being my own therapist. It was like, I wanted to see the difference in mood and the difference in temperament and everything. And dude, when I watched him, I actually forgot why I had done it until I had to rewatch him for the documentary. And in the first one, when I rewatched it, I said, like, so I'm sick of fucking therapists, so I'm going to be my own therapist. Like, I straight, like, say it all out. I'm like, oh, thank God I did that, because now I had forgotten. It's just weird, man. It's weird. But again, It goes back to nothing's easy. Like, if you want something done to your standard, not done right, to your standard, you got to do it yourself. And like with my arm, with anything medical I learned, dude, you are your own patient advocate. Like, no one is going to take better care of you than you. And you just have to accept that. And accept that everyone has their own lives and they may have jobs to help other people. But ultimately, if you want to solve your problem, you're going to have to do it yourself. I mean, you can get help, but you're the project manager.
Damn, dude. That's a fucking damn good message.
I think that's the problem, though, if you think about it. Like the VA, it's like, I mean, you can get help a lot of places. Mm-hmm. But you can't, there's no project manager overall. You know what I mean? Like hospitals, if you go see a doctor for whatever, and then you go to another hospital, that doctor doesn't call the other doctor and go, hey, when we did surgery last year, I know. No. They don't talk. You need to convey it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious when you say it, but you just don't think about it. When you go see a therapist and then you go see another therapist, okay, maybe they get a page of notes.
Yeah.
That means nothing. Plus, all a therapist knows is what you tell them. That's it. By definition. Maybe some other notes from a therapist, but that's the other problem is, let's say you told a therapist, and nothing against therapists. I have a therapist who's awesome. I love her. She's great. And I see her, well, I should see her every week. I see her about every 2 weeks. But she's great. So I'm not against therapy. But so let's just say you had an issue. And let's say it's a battle, just as an example. If there was a video, and not like a drone feed, I'm talking like a movie version of your story. of a battle, told in depth in real time, not in cuts, in real time. Let's say the battle was 7 hours, the movie's fucking 7 hours. If a therapist watched that, would they know what it was like to be there? No, not even close. Not even close. But they don't see a movie. They get a 5-minute conversation. Like, they'll never know. And you have to accept that they'll never know. And it's not their fault. They're not capable of knowing. You know. And you're the only person who knows. You're the only person who will ever know. Except that the people that were there with you. And those people's perspective is different. It's not the same. You know, for me, a big part of everything was just letting go of control. I don't control anything. Literally anything. Plus, sometimes therapists love to say, well, you do control your way you feel towards something. No, you don't. No, you don't. And I can prove that. You're with a girl for 20 years, married, and then one day you walk in and I've said some things about women. You're a girl, a really hot one, and you're married to this dude for 20 years, and one day you walk in and he's having sex with another girl. Don't get upset. Control yourself. You can control your mind. Yeah, we have some control, but to say we have total control is just not true. We don't control our emotions to the degree that people would like to think we do. So all we have a little bit of control over is how we feel about something, how we think about something, how we react to something. It's the only thing we have a little bit control over. And we don't even have full control over that. So, fuck it. Like, what does anything really matter? I mean, honestly, and I'm not saying that in a nihilistic, negative sense. It's just, let go, Luke. Quote, Star Wars, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just, the quicker you just let go of trying to control things, the faster you'll be happy. Because you control nothing. Nothing. Everything I tried to control caused misery because it was impossible. And then I was upset that I couldn't control it. Didn't turn out the way I wanted. How many plans in your life have you made and then they don't turn out the way you want? And you get upset. As if you ever had control of that in the first place. So for me, you know, I just have to accept that with everything, like, I'll never be fixed. And that's okay. I think searching to be fixed is, by definition, you can't go back. You know, once Pandora's out of the box, it's out.
Yeah.
It'll never go back in. How many guys, I've heard this so many times, and don't get me wrong, I said it too. Oh, if I could just get back to who I used to be. It's impossible. Because you've experienced, you will never get back. You cannot go back to ignorance.
Yeah.
Can't. You know it. You experienced it, happened, whatever it is. You'll never go back. The only way forward is to go, you know what? I'm here now, and I'll be comfortable with that.
You cannot relive experiences in life and expect the same type of experience. It just doesn't work like that.
No, but that's a critical point that actually, when I really one of the first steps towards me getting better. And don't get me wrong, I'm still a nutcase, no question. Like, I have a ton of issues. I like to put that out because, like, everyone's like, oh, you seem to be doing well. Yeah, because I, like, you know, I'm good at juggling chaos, but there's a lot of chaos. But one of the first things that really was a big step forward was me just realizing that I couldn't go back to the old me. Just letting go of that, the old me. Once I did that, it was like, I'm not going to try and get back there. I'm just, all right, let's start over. That's when I started to build a new identity and not build a new identity, but who am I really? Let's figure it out. Instead of trying to get back to the old one, let's figure out the new one. And you're 100 people in your lifetime. You're never the same, day to day.
Yeah.
Every day you're different than the day before. And again, I mean, I've been working at this for a decade. I'm at the point where I can talk about it, and I can talk about what I've found that worked for me personally, and I can say it, and hopefully it can help get people on the same or a track that works for them. But again, I don't want anyone to, like, I'm not fixed, and I don't think fixed, I mean, what does it even mean? But I think it's just like life in general. It's work every day. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But we like to think that there's an end state where you're done. No, it's...
Well, I think the end state is happiness, right? That would be the goal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the goal. I think I'm still like, the longer I go, the more I realize, how backed up my browser history is. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, man, I got to clear more shit, Which is, it's fine. But it goes back to, too, you talk about happiness, and happiness can only be ever felt in one moment. Present. That's it.
Yep.
And, for me, and I think for a lot of people, especially in the community, like, I know personally that I'm happier climbing the mountain than I am at the top. It's the journey that's interesting.
Yeah.
Once you're up there, there's only one thing to do. Let's go back down. Adventure's over. You've already been that way.
Very true.
The reason I say that is when you said the end state being happy, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, that's the mountaintop for me. I think I like working towards it more than, just being zen and being like, I'm happy.
I agree with you. I think that goes back to when we were talking about looking for the next best thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people do get to the top and
are happy.
They're able to
enjoy it.
To stop and enjoy it. And then there's the other breed where it's, what's the next best thing? All right, I get, and I see that with guys in our community. I see that with highly successful entrepreneurs. You know, when's the last time you celebrated any of your successes? Ever?
You're saying I've had some?
Absolutely, you have.
Again, super dry. Sorry, that was a joke of no, I haven't celebrated. I didn't know I've had some. No, never. I've never celebrated anything.
Yeah.
I remember one moment, and it was quick. But I remember when I joined the Directors Guild, because I used to drive by it. It's on Sunset in LA. I used to drive by it, and I'd always be like, one day I'm going to go inside there, and I'm going to be a member. And I remember after I signed the paperwork, I was there in person, and then I left. I like signed my official membership and everything. And I was riding my motorcycle through the canyon, and I was like, it happened, and it was a great 3 to 5 seconds. It was amazing. But on that note, I'll mention this because it's related, and that is, it's crazy how many things too that were like dreams as a kid, and I'll say it as an example. Like dreams you want to do as a kid that you couldn't do or whatever. And you're like, one day. And then like one day being now, you realize like, I could do that. I could do that right now. But you haven't, because it just hasn't occurred to you. You know what I mean? Like for me, like as a kid, the rich people, when they went to Disneyland, stayed at the Disneyland Hotel. Obviously, that was not my family. I don't even know how they afforded to go to Disneyland. Probably sold blood plasma. I don't know. But, my ex and I were going to Disneyland, and I'm like, I'm going to get a room at the Disneyland Hotel. Like, I can afford, and I was just like, and then I was there, and I'm like, fuck, how many other things have I always wanted? And I can do, but and where it comes from now, no, it's just, I never felt worthy of those things. So even though I can do it now, I just don't feel like I deserve it. So again, it's been a process to work towards to go, like I bought a sports car.
What'd you get?
BMW i8.
Nice.
Dude, it's pretty sick. I bought it. I don't know why. I just kind of was like, fuck it. And I've always wanted a sports car. But I was like, oh, no, it's a waste of money. It's frivolous. Blah, 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 whatever. And then I bought it. And now, every day when I drive it, I love it. Every second I'm driving that car, I don't want to say it makes me happy, but I enjoy it. That's on one level. The other level that I've realized is the better I treat myself, the more I feel that I deserve it.
Really?
And that is a trick that generally goes against what most people say. If they don't have that fundamental issue, it'd be like, dude, don't waste your money on X, Y, and Z. But now, the better I treat myself, like a hotel. Like,
where did you learn that? Did you just come up with that?
I accidentally stumbled upon it just recently too. I mean, dude, like,
what was it? What was the epiphany?
It wasn't the car. I don't know. It was like, what was it? It was either staying somewhere, it was something expensive, and then I felt guilty about it, but I was also like, no, I've worked hard, I deserve this. And then that kind of turned into, regardless of how hard I've worked, I deserve it regardless. Like, I mean, if I can afford it, which obviously does come from hard work, but you know what I'm saying? It's like Like, dude, I would get a gift. This is my ex. My ex got me a Gucci wallet. The entertainer ex got me a Gucci wallet. I hope she doesn't listen to this. She's gonna, she's gonna like, you couldn't come up with any other name.
She might be busy entertaining.
Well, she is busy entertaining her 2 kids. But she got me a Gucci wallet. That Gucci wallet sat in my closet for years. Because, like, I mean, at the time, I was like, I'm not gonna carry, I don't know, it was like a $300 wallet. That's ridiculous. It was like on the surface. Subsurface was, that's too nice for me. I'm not that way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the kind of person to have a designer wallet. And I'm not saying I am now. Like, wearing jeans and Solomons. I'm not wearing it now, but I bought a really nice watch. You know what I mean? So it's like, still be you, but, you have to treat yourself well in order subconsciously to feel that you deserve to be treated well. If you don't treat yourself well, who else will? Or well, if you don't treat yourself well, who else will? And that was just accidental. And that's counter to, I used to, and I know you heard the podcast I did with John, but that's counter to the self-destructive behavior of, I will grow by destroying myself.
Yeah.
And it's just, we talked about it earlier, but I want to say it on camera, which is when I first was aware that I had like some issues, I was like, I went to therapy and they're like, okay, this is the issue, PTSD. Okay. And then I didn't agree with that. And so then I, did other things. And then I was like, and then I actually found issues. Like, this is an actual issue. This is an actual issue. Okay. And then kept researching. And then I'd be like, oh, that's another one. And then dig some more. Now, here's another one. The problem is when when you're a quote unquote, man, I'm all fucked up. I've got problems. Like, shit, I bet I had at my worst 100 problems. And they're 100 project problems. They're not a to-do list like turn out the lights, open the can. No, they're projects, complex problems. On that note, I'll say this. You see therapists. What are they dealing with? They are dealing with you talking. That is not the brain. That is you giving them information, them taking that information, processing it, going through their schooling, and then regurgitating it to try and, generally change your perspective and heal your conscious thinking on a certain subject. But again, that's not physical. So you've got therapy, which is talking, but isn't the brain an electrochemical machine? Yeah. By the way, anyone who doesn't believe it, take acid. Yeah, you'll know real quick that that the brain is that chemicals can fundamentally change reality. All right, anyone who disagrees with that, take acid. Let me know how it goes. So now you got chemicals. You got a chemical balance or an imbalance. What's your baseline chemicals? Fuck, I don't know. Well, does a therapist test those? No. Who does? Yeah, you'd have to find somebody. You're the project manager. But that's my point. What about your hormones? That's separate than brain chemistry. That's hormones, endocrine system. Well, I don't think your hormones, I had a guy tell me like, well, I don't know how much your hormones regulate your brain. And I go, are you married? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, keep thinking about that. See if anything pops into your head. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like,
never mind.
I'm like, every month, anything change? And he was like, oh, shit. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, it's pretty fucking important. Do therapists or the brain people test for that? No. And they're all related. It's like having a car and saying that the steering wheel works completely independent from every other part of the car.
Yeah.
Just we're so we're just so basic in our mental health care. I'm gonna use the word, and I'm fine with it. It's fucking pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. It's really pathetic, and that's not by accident. Not to be a big, but it's not by accident. Our healthcare system, I'm not shocking anyone when I say this, it treats symptoms, not diseases. There's no money in treating diseases. There's money in treating symptoms.
Yeah.
And
I'm 100% with you on that.
And so therefore, you've got so many symptoms and you've got 100 diseases, and you have to figure out what they all are, and you have to cure them in two ways. You have to cure them partly at the same time, and partly, it's like you have to be aware of everything, but focus on one at a time. But you have to be aware of everything because they're all related. They're all happening in real time in the same system, your body.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor.
Well,
but that's not exactly, it's pretty logical. It's how the body works.
You're making a hell of a lot of sense.
And where did I learn this from? Dude, myself. I've fucked up everything. Like, dude, I went to a hormone doctor after I got years of surgeries. I was like, man, I just don't feel like myself. So what makes myself? What makes my mood? Read some books. You're like, hormones. I'm like, I'll go get my hormones tested. I go in there, and the doctor goes, and this was before it was like more common. The doctor's like, yeah, your hormones came out interesting. Dude, I kid you not, my testosterone was like 7.
Oh, man.
Dude, it was like almost nothing. Why? Well, dude, I went from freaking working out twice a day, to doing nothing for, 3-4 years, couldn't work out, all these different things, all these different reasons. Also, there's the whole field of research, which I'm not well versed on, but I hear from many people, Marcus Capone being one of them, dude, blast wave effect on your, what is it, the hormone, the gland, thyroid, and, all these different things, about reducing the ability, of your body to produce certain hormones and all these things. All I know is I did the test, and that's the number, and he goes, yeah, we should definitely fix that. And then, I start to balance my hormones. Night and day different. And I was just like, dude, this should be, everyone should know this.
Yeah.
And it's like that with everything, It's your brain chemistry, it's all related, and to a degree, you don't have to know it in depth. You don't need to be an expert on it. But it's like, if your body's a car, you should fucking read the owner's manual.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not saying you need to be a mechanic and know how to replace your freaking, your engine, but you should understand how a car works, and you should know your car. Because it all works in unison. And, it's just been a long process of, and again, like I said, the more I dig, the more. I'll give you another example. I go to the Warrior's Heart, and, I'm listening to, all these different classes and stuff. And, I was like, one of them was, without question, they started talking about codependency. And I was like, shit. If you are a veteran, read what codependency is, because I think a lot of veterans are codependent. Grew up in a codependent household, one or both parents being codependent, and you become codependent, and there's no more of a codependent system than the military. Have you read anything on codependency?
A little. That got brought up a lot in my therapy sessions.
So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's a book called Codependent No More. It's like the Bible of codependency. Fucking blew my mind apart. Made me sad, quite honestly.
Interesting. What's the name of that?
Codependent No More.
I'll need to get that.
I mean, it's like the first text really written about it. And the woman, if you get a new copy, she kind of like does an update of, when she created it, because I think she made the term, but it's interesting. But dude, it's like, it's just so much shit that I'm like, dude, how did I not know this until now?
I think the biggest takeaways from talking to you are, if you want to get fixed, you need to do the research and figure out how to fix yourself.
Yeah.
I think that is probably the biggest takeaway.
Yes, and you're right, and I'm going to dovetail that onto something we talked about earlier, which I don't think we talked about on camera, which is a key piece of doing that is taking responsibility for your own mental and physical care and not being a victim.
That was going to be my next one, is turn inward, do some self-reflection and figure out why these things keep happening, which, goes right along with the do-it-yourself.
You cannot, the responsibility to fix you is not up to the VA. It really isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they can, they have mechanisms to assist, but you got to lead the charge, and the other thing too is like, once you take that responsibility for your own mental health, like that in itself, just that piece is mentally empowering, because you're in charge, you're in control.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, now, not fixed, but I know I'm in charge. And I know that I'm going to learn more things that are problems. And I know that there's a process to research and then take action, and it'll be okay.
And don't forget to treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Nobody says that.
Yeah.
Nobody says that.
Yeah.
And I know it's true. I started doing it too, and that's a big one. I've never heard anybody actually vocalize that. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. It's, I think it's super critical. You know who definitely doesn't treat themselves or you? The military. So you deserve it. Treat yourself and, don't justify bad behavior, whatever. But but within reason, absolutely. And the better you treat yourself, the better, it's
Better you're gonna feel.
Yeah, it's just the better you feel. And
I mean, it makes perfect sense. If you're not gonna treat yourself, and you don't think you're worth it, to treat yourself, then you sure as fuck aren't gonna accept it from anybody else.
People always say this, it's like, people don't get what they deserve, or people get what they deserve, or good people who get what they deserve, or, all these different sayings, and none of it's true. There's a fact, or my saying, which is a fact, and you'll see why it's kind of not debatable, is people will only ever get one thing, ever. And that's what they feel they deserve. You can never get more or less than that, because it's not external. Like, what you get is not, it's always based on what you feel you deserve. That's what you'll get. Because if you don't feel you deserve something, it won't come. And that, by the way, is why bad people get good things. It's because they feel they deserve it. So they get it. And then a good person's going, not realizing that the difference between them is that they don't feel they deserve it.
Damn, that's a good point. Well, brother, I really appreciate you coming on.
Dude, it's been awesome.
It's been an honor.
Yeah, same, man. I think, I hope everyone got something out of it, and yeah, I'll be back.
Anyone who's paying attention got something out of this one. There's no doubt.
A lot of people probably listen to podcasts while they're, somebody's probably putting this on, ooh, Tyler Gray, that guy talks a lot, I'll put him on. That's better than any sleeping meds I have. So, no, thanks for having me on, and yeah, appreciate it, man. It's been awesome.
My pleasure.
Glad I finally made it out.
You got anything coming up?
Nothing. No, not written. Pretty chill the rest of this year, which is, well, I'll be the last thing I say too, man, is I am guilty as fuck of overworking myself. No question. That's still my self-destructive behavior that I still justify. But I really need to take a real break, and so I'm not going to do anything for the rest of the year. Again, I'm trying to get better, but
good for you, man.
It's just so easy to be like, no, I can't turn down any. It's like, you're weak if you because you gotta put yourself out there for stuff to happen. It doesn't happen in a room freaking watching TV. Yeah, so I'm actively trying to take a break, so nothing for the rest of the year.
Right on, man. Well, awesome. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to find you, all your links will be below. We'll link that documentary as well, and
yeah, actually, we have a link for it now. So, yeah, awesome. And hey, also, Phil, I always say this. Well, actually, I don't think I always say it, but I'm gonna start saying it. If anyone's, I love when people hit me up on Instagram, and if anyone's got a real hey, I need advice on this, dude, hit me up, and I will definitely not get back to you that day, but at some point, I'll hopefully see the message, and I'll put my money where my mouth is, in that, I like trying to help people. It's trying any way for me to help somebody circumvent and shorten the timing of how long it took me to figure all this shit out. Hey, it's the least I can do.
Well, thank you, man.
Hey.
There are a lot of gems to pick up from this one, and I'm seriously, thank you. This is going to help a lot of people.
Awesome.
So,
all right, man. Well, thanks.
Cheers, Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.